Hello. When I was a little girl in grade school, I received a Christmas gift that was an unusual choice for me because I was not your typical little girl. I didn't play dolls. I didn't do dress up. I didn't participate in tea parties or dressing up the cat like my sister did. I just was different than most kids. And this Christmas present was a doll. I know, odd choice, but it actually was an incredible gift. The doll was not like any doll I had ever seen. It was not like any doll anyone around me had ever seen. She was called Poor Pitiful Pearl. If a bunch of girls had gotten together and decided to place their dollies on a bench for a photo op, Pearl would have stuck out like a sore thumb. She was what you would call homely. She looked like she could have come out of an orphanage. She just wouldn't have belonged with all the other little dolls. And she became my companion, this child who was not into dolls, suddenly attached at the hip to Pearl. Because this little child stuck out like a sore thumb also. There was a kinship, I guess you could say. And though I am not a person that holds on to mementos like most people do, I still have Pearl around somewhere, along with a very old Raggedy Ann. I looked for her this morning and I couldn't find her, and so I found a picture to share with you. So Pearl brings to me the idea of the associations we make in our childhoods. My mother made a comment like, "Oh my God, that doll is so ugly, and yet she's so perfect for you." And there was then another reason that I bonded with Pearl. I was homely in my mind, and we were like two orphans, kind of hanging out together because we never really were feeling accepted by anyone else. I am going to share a video about the associations that we take on in childhood and then continue to act on without realizing where they came from or why we feel the way we do about ourselves or others. It might seem a little ludicrous because I'm going to be playing a high school girl, and obviously I am many, many decades past high school, but I'm all I have here. So just kind of see me through a veil of generosity and imagine that I could actually be a teenage girl. I think that this is probably one of the most important things I have learned in the last few years is to look a little deeper into my own behavior to see where it may be coming from. And that has caused me to go way, way back. And for many of you watching, you can do the same thing, although I have to admit it's fairly painful, but worth it, because there are so many patterns that we follow, and we're not even aware how we formed them. Most of them have been formed on a false premise, things that we have believed that others told us, associations we have made because of what was going on in the life of the child. And I just wanted to figure out a way with humor that would illustrate that. I hope it won't be too painful. Well, maybe painful watching me try to play a high school girl, but other than that, it's going to deal with teenage angst, which of course often stems from childhood issues. You know, it could be that it wouldn't be so hard to be a teenager if one grew up in a functional, loving family, but many of us didn't have that opportunity. So it's just an illustration of the kinds of things that become a part of us that really have no place there anymore. There is a way to discard what isn't serving us anymore, and it starts with being aware of where those kinds of thoughts or behaviors came from in the first place. So here we go with Pearl's wisdom. Oh, Mir, I know it's really dumb that I'm talking to you, but you know what? I'm just so bursting with excitement. I have to talk to somebody, and none of my friends are here right now for me to talk to. You know, they're all doing their shopping, but I'm all done. I got my outfit and everything, and you know what? I look pretty. I might even look sexy. And I'm just, I'm so excited. You know, I never thought that someone like Billy would like someone like me ever. But you know, those couple months ago we started talking, and I really kind of made a fool of myself, and I wasn't really talking very much because I was so afraid I'd say the wrong thing. Then I sneezed, and yeah, a little bit went flying on him, and I thought, oh my God, I will just die of embarrassment now. I better just slink off. And he started laughing and said, keep your snot to yourself. And you know, it could have been so bad, but he just thought it was funny. And we've been talking ever since, and you know what? He likes that I'm not like all the other girls. He doesn't want me to be cookie cutter princess. He likes that I'm a little bit different. He likes that I'm okay. He says I'm kind of nuts, but you know, good nuts. And I just never met anyone that liked my kind of good nuts before. So, you know, I'm just so excited, and nothing's going to go wrong. I know. This isn't some fairy tale, but nothing's going to go wrong because, you know, I think this could be a really important night of my life. So, yeah, I'm just really excited, and I'm going to go try my dress on, okay? Well, here it is. What do you think? Strapless. Yeah. You know, I know. Dad always calls me chubby cheeks and says it's not just these cheeks. And Mom says, you know, that I should be thinner. But I think I look really pretty, Mir. What do you think? I'm feeling very, very, well, you know, pretty much. I'm feeling okay about things. Oh, gosh, I don't know. You know, Mom and Dad want to see me in my dress tonight to make sure I have their approval, and now I'm getting really nervous. But no, I'm not going to go there. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be heavenly. Wait a minute, Mir. What is that? Is that what I think it is? A big zit just popped up on my nose the night before prom? Oh my God! How am I going to be able to go now? Wait a minute, oh, no, it really is. I was just hoping I saw it wrong. It's a big zit. Oh, no, what am I going to do now? You know, I'm going to call my mom on FaceTime and see what she thinks because, you know, she'll probably say, oh, it's nothing. You can cover it up. It'll be just fine. Okay, Mir. Okay, so let me see where I put my phone. Oh, gosh. This isn't right. The night before prom. I know Billy calls me his unicorn, but that's not supposed to be a horn there. Okay, hold on. I'm not going to. Hi, Mom. I got my dress on. I know you didn't want to see it till tonight, but I have this question. It's probably silly. It's probably nothing you'll even notice. Oh, you noticed. You don't think Billy will notice, do you? Okay, I'll try to cover it up. And yeah, okay, I'll try to cover it up and I'll call you back at work in a little while and you can tell me how it worked, okay? Okay, bye, Mom. Love you. Okay, she says I gotta try to cover it up, Mir. So let's see. I don't know. Let me figure this out. I know. I'll go in her bathroom and I'll find some of that goo that she puts on her face. Okay, I'll be right back, Mir. You can help me with this. Okay, Mir, I'm back. I put some of her goo on there. Oh my god! It's bigger than it was. I tried to cover it up and it's like huge. What am I gonna do? Oh no. There's no way I could go to the prom. Well, okay, no, I don't want to go there. I want to remain positive. Let me call my mom. Maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. They say our egos just, they mess with us. So, okay, I'm gonna call mom again. Okay. Mm. Hi, mom. I covered it up. It's better now, right? Everything's gonna be okay. Really? You really think so? You don't think I should go? Because I'll be so embarrassed and I'll embarrass him? Oh, okay, Mom. Talk to you later. Mirror. She thinks I'll be an embarrassment. She thinks the prom pictures will be an embarrassment and she doesn't want to put them in the album, so she wants me to tell Billy I can't go. I don't know how to tell him. I guess I'll text. Oh, I. You stupid! Ugh. You're ruining my life, you stupid zit! Okay. Well, I sent the message. This isn't how I thought things were gonna turn out, Mirror. Thought it was gonna be the happiest night of my life. I thought I was gonna get to feel pretty and feel special. Oh. What? Oh, God. Okay, well, I'll just be gracious, I guess. Yeah, I guess that saying is right. What we focus on, we get more of, because I focused on the little zit on my nose and now I have Mount Everest. And I don't get to go to the prom. Wow. Okay, Mir. Well, I don't really want to cry in front of you because, you know, I don't really want to cry at all. I think I'll just forget that I'm sad and I don't know, maybe I could be mad instead and go punch something? No, I guess I'll just pretend like it's no big deal, like I have about everything else in my life. I'll talk to you later, Mir. Bye. I'm back for the recap. Now, it probably seemed kind of silly, and maybe you're thinking, well, that's a teenager. Teenagers always make a big deal about a lot of things that aren't that big of a deal. But we have to remember that our teenage years are when a lot of this indoctrination comes up for us because we're starting to experiment with who we might be as individuals. And it's a struggle sometimes to realize that we don't have to be duplicates of our parents. You know, I'm thinking of children of alcoholics or children of smokers or gamblers or whatever. It seems like they fall into two categories. There are the children that end up just repeating those patterns, those addictions. And then there are the children that say, I grew up with that shit. I'm not going there. I learned how not to be. You know, and I have to say kudos to those kids that decide that they're not going to repeat the patterns at a young age. But most of us have to have a lot of decades of repeating those old patterns before we realize that we have the ability to change them, that we don't have to remain in this mold that was starting to form when we were children and that we have just carried with us throughout our lives. So, for the recap, I think that you probably noticed that this girl was very concerned about being an embarrassment. She was afraid to really say much to Billy in case she said the wrong thing. She was afraid she might be ashamed. She was told that she would be an embarrassment to her parents. You know, shaming is unfortunately something that happens in families of many. You would hope it wouldn't be that way, but really, this is where it starts. And when we get into our teenage years, it is more challenging because, you know, a teenager has challenges like bad skin, weight problems, not feeling pretty, you know, comparing themselves to other kids and finding that they are lacking because the superficial has been made to be such a big deal, and so has conforming. So, also, this young girl showed that she had already developed a fear of doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing. You know, it goes back to embarrassment, yes, but also it illustrates that many of us have learned from our childhoods that failure is not acceptable. And so it's easier not to try. That might equate to us not speaking up for ourselves because something we say may cause things to go wrong. It's not just embarrassment, it is that we have set certain expectations for ourselves and we're afraid that we may fail at seeing those met. You know, directed inward, always blaming ourselves for things that go wrong and forgetting that it does take more than one person to make a situation go sour. Critical parents. You could see that this girl started out so excited, so much animation. And then when she started thinking about the criticisms of her parents previously and having to stand before them in her prom dress to get their approval, her mood just tanked. There was not much animation to her. She started to worry, she started to be anxious, and this is because she had become reliant on the opinion of her parents. Now, that may not be unusual for teenagers, but we don't outgrow that. So it may not be reliant on the opinions of our parents, but many of us place way more importance on what others think and what others think of us than on our own common sense. And this does have a lot to do with body image and how that is impacted by how we're treated when we're younger, because so much emphasis is placed on the superficial, the looks. So one zit, and admittedly this did turn into Mount Everest, but one zit can absolutely devastate a teenager. We'd like to think that we outgrow that, but think about it. Even as women older, we obsess about, well, for me, wrinkles, the things that are showing me getting up in years, to the extent of an obsession that is hindering me putting myself out in the world. This is something I can change, but I have to be aware of it to start changing it. And it shows that, as much as I know we are not supposed to be looking outwardly for approval, I am still too focused on what others think about my looks. My ego is very loud on this one. This has been a continual issue for me trying to heal, and one that I haven't been able to yet. I'm still waiting for enough people to tell me I'm not ugly, because it's that conditioning I have to get rid of. And intellectually, I know that I don't see myself in an accurate way when I look in the mirror. But, that inner child that was criticized and made to feel that she was homely, like poor pitiful Pearl, hasn't been able to get past that yet. So a lot of us still deal with body issues, whether it's weight or wrinkles or, I'm trying to think what else, missing teeth, thinning hair. We are so focused on these flaws that we think make us inferior, and this is because so much importance was placed on it when we were younger. Gosh, I can't even imagine what it would be like to grow up with parents who said, "Oh, come on, honey, pimples are a part of being a teenager. It's no big deal. Your looks are not what's important about you anyway. You have a bubbly, wonderful personality." I mean, maybe some kids grow up that way, but I don't know that it's a majority. And so I think there are probably those of you who can relate to body image issues. Now, this girl acquiesced to what is the word I'm looking for? The edict, I guess, placed by her mother that she couldn't go to the prom. The way that she chose to deal with it was to mask what was really going on and to text, which, honestly, I think these days it's a real shame that people think that delivering bad news is acceptable via text, but it is part of our reality. Rather than just telling Billy the truth, that she got all wigged out about something that he probably wouldn't care about, but it was a big deal to her mother. Maybe all she needed was a little bit of reassurance from Billy that he didn't care. But she didn't give him a chance. She assumed that she would be judged negatively, and she didn't want to rock the boat with her parents. These are definite patterns that you may recognize in yourself. It is so much easier to just come up with an excuse, something that maybe even borders on the truth, rather than admitting, I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to buck the system. And showing that vulnerability. Now, you may have noticed that the girl got angry, if you can call it that. It was kind of lame for expressing anger at the zit, but not at her mother. This is something that could have been minimized and could have become a non-issue. And the girl, you could see, was seeking that kind of reassurance from her mother and got just the opposite. Acquiescing is easier than rebelling for many of us, but it does cause a lot of resentment, which builds into anger, which builds into rage. This girl couldn't express her anger at anything except, the offending zit on her nose. She never learned how to express her anger because most likely it had been met with harsher consequences if she did try when she was younger. And then that leads to this, oh, well, it's no big deal. I won't let it bother me. I'll be gracious. I'll be the bigger person. I will be, oh, so calm and cool. And there's nothing to be upset about anyway. So it's just another disappointment. We do get used to accepting that we don't deserve for things to go well. And we do tend to attract then more of the things that don't go well. We also become very good at denying that we're hurt. And speaking of that, Billy must have been very hurt when he got the text. He probably had enough intuition kicking in that he knew it wasn't the truth. He might have wondered what it was about him that had made her decide to reject him. But it was hard for Billy to show any kind of vulnerability or anger. He could have said, that hurts. Why are you doing that to me? But, for boys, I'm sure it is way less acceptable to express any kind of hurt because men don't do that, which I think is a shame. But it does seem to be the prevailing theme in parenting boys, to make them think that they always have to suck it up and keep it in. And, they are at least allowed to put their fists through walls sometimes to get some of the anger out. Maybe boys have an easier way of releasing anger than girls at that age. I'm not sure, not having been a boy and not having learned how to legitimately release anger either. When the girl was trying to make things better and pointing out that he might be able to get a date with the new girl, she was comparing herself to the pretty girl that was new in town and saying that he could be proud to be seen with her. Again, it goes back to that awful body image and assuming that everyone else is prettier, smarter, thinner, whatever. The tendency to compare doesn't just come to us when we're born. It's because people have compared us to others and then pointed out that the others were superior. This is a habit that I think most people still do as they get into their older years until there is, I'm not sure what the age cutoff is. There is a point that when we get older, we start to think, what? Fuck it. I am who I am. People can live with it or not live with it. If I want to fart when I walk down the grocery aisle and not apologize for it, I will. Now, I'm being facetious, but you probably have seen old people in the grocery store that are like, it's who I am. Deal with it or don't deal with it, but don't tell me about it. That would be some blessed relief to get to that point, wouldn't it? But it is a hard one to get to. we tend to compare ourselves and think that that dude has a bigger, you know what, in the men's room, and that girl has much perkier boobs than mine. We do this at all sorts of ages. This isn't limited to teenagers. Now, when the girl talked about, I'll just be gracious, it was obvious that she had been taught that having manners was more important than allowing herself to feel and express her emotions. And that is also something that many of us deal with. We may be boiling inside with anger, but because we've been taught to be gracious and to be polite to others, we would be saying, oh no, that's okay, sure, I understand, no, I'm not hurt. That's not being authentic, and it's really not being fair to the people who are hurting us, because they may not know until we point things out. And lastly, yeah, the stuffing of emotions, not just anger, but any of it. She didn't want to cry. She just really was saying she didn't want to feel. And many of us get in that habit. We just stuff in anything that is going to hurt to experience and pretend it's not there. It does come back to bite us in the ass, often in health problems. It also comes back to bite us in the ass in relationships, because if you connect with someone that's very intuitive, they're going to know that you're not being honest about what you're feeling. They're going to know that you're not okay when you say you are. And that's going to just kind of lay out suspicion as a component of your relationship, because it's going to be hard to really trust someone if you think they are withholding something. The other person may know nothing different in their life. But again, we have to, I know it sounds weird to say be kind by letting people know these things, but really that is it. Because if no one ever calls someone on behavior that is harming them ultimately because of how it's causing other people to treat them, how are they going to know that this is something to heal? So yes, have tact, and yes, do it in a gentle way if possible, but it's not that we're being mean when we point things out to people where they have hurt our feelings or hurt us. It is being kind by letting them know that this is something that had an impact. It carried through to something that maybe they didn't intend to have happen, because no one had ever called them on it. So really, I just want to end by saying, we're all supposed to be heading toward living our bliss, and the only way to do that is to allow ourselves, all parts of ourselves, to be expressed and in a truthful and authentic way. So these are things that are worth working on, even though they can be kind of hard to dig into and to face. A lot of us don't want to point the finger at our parents, and after all, they do the best they can. But we don't have to keep holding on to what was taught to us to honor them. I mean, we can acknowledge they did the best they could, but it might not have been the best for us, and just move on from there. We can still love our parents, but hold them accountable for things that they have pushed on us that we have accepted and that have been harmful for us. It's okay to be vulnerable, and if you have a hard time with that, you may think, you know what, if I do this, maybe that shows others around me that it's okay if they show their vulnerabilities. I mean, a lot more people would be saying, I really could use a friend. I really could use your help. I'm struggling. If you would just let me cry on your shoulder for a few minutes, I'd be so grateful. It would probably make things easier for a lot of us to admit we can't always do everything on our own. And there is no shame in admitting that we have grown up with habits and thoughts and ways of wading through our lives that maybe have not been all that healthy. We don't know any better. It's when we do know that all these things are no longer serving us that we then, if not have an obligation, at least should have some curiosity about, looking into whether it's maybe time to do some healing now. We all have our own timelines. We all do this work when it's right. And it may not be for you, but it also may be that you'll think about that silly, scattered, hurt teenage girl and make a connection to the way you react to some things that maybe have not ended in things going as smoothly as you had hoped, dumping a pattern here or there to make life a little easier wouldn't be a bad thing. All right, enough of that. Take care, everybody. Bye.